Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Terence Crawford, he did things his way. And I tell you what, man, I'm not too worried about any content creators, any Crawford fans, any Spence fans, or just any boxing fans when it comes to their opinion on Terence Crawford. But I'll tell you what, for me, being a guy who's always been, probably since the age of like 10 years old, very independent, I respect when I see somebody break off on their own and gamble on themselves. We saw what Terence Crawford was able to do once he left Bob Arum. We know there was some frustration on Crawford's part and Bob Arum's part. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the fact that the fight with Spence wasn't getting made when Bud Crawford was over there with Top Rank. I'm not talking about the fact that it took so long for Crawford and Spence to what seems now to have the fight scheduled for 17 June. What I'm talking about is Crawford saying, you know what, I'm going to gamble on myself. Now, he's done some things that some people may not agree with, but it really doesn't matter because it's for that man to sit there and be comfortable with himself. I believe he has 5 kids, maybe 6. But the bottom line is, he doesn't have as many kids as Joe Jackson, but he has quite a few. He's doing what's best for his family. And there's nothing like being able to move on your own time and free will when you want, when you're your own boss. Now, there's some challenges that come with that because it's a huge experience gap that you have to fill. And you do that by hands-on experiences, like what he got with first trying to do that deal with Spence. Crawford got it he had about the 40% solution. He went out there, he knew they had to have money. He knew he had to go and talk to the right people. He even talked to the fighter himself. Now, could that have been done differently? Yes. The other thing that he learned from is being so vocal on social media. That came back to bite him big time, but he learned from that. You haven't heard a peep out of him or a peep out of Spence when it comes to this June 17 bout. It's just been radio silence. But I'll tell you this. Bob Arum came out and he said something. And Bob Arum said something and I thought was very interesting. He said Terence Crawford, the reason why Terence Crawford and Earl Spence, that fight wasn't made, is because Terence Crawford and Earl Spence had unrealistic financial expectations. And Bob Arum even admitted, Crawford and Spence is the kind of fight that should have millions of viewers. It should do millions in pay-per-view. He's like, but just because you think it's going to do that, and I believe it should do that, he's like, that doesn't mean it's going to do that. And we can't sit here and plan a fight and guarantee you a certain amount of money based on what we think something should do. And I agree with what Bob Arum's saying. Remember, people, promoters are not in the business to lose money. But that being said, you see how Crawford has decided to bubble around and jump around from outfit to outfit because people think he's out here being inexperienced. Some people think he's out here jumping around from promoter to promoter where he's basically just trying to go to the highest bidder. That's not what he's doing, in my opinion. I'm going to tell you, first of all, nobody knows what he's doing, right? But I'm going to tell you what I think. I think Bud is just out there having conversations. And in doing so, I think he's getting experience. Okay? Now, there's something that someone brought up about Bud Crawford and Bud Crawford and Earl Spence, where they talked about who they felt would win that fight. And I respected what this person said. They said, to them, it seems like a 50-50 fight. So right then I said, okay, I can listen to this person. This isn't a bandwagonist who's just going to come here and say, Bud Crawford can do no wrong. Or say Earl Spence can do no wrong. Once he says a 50-50 fight, I was all ears, because that's how I see it. He said, but I think the difference is Bud Crawford is very versatile. And I said, okay, I agree with that. He's like, and the thing about him is you don't know what he's going to do in the ring. Because whatever style you bring, however you approach it, he always figures it out. And then I added on to that. I said, yes. And once he goes into the phone booth and turns into Southpaw Man, The whole fight ends. So you know once Terence Crawford goes southpaw, the fight's over. He started laughing. Then he said with Earl Spence, you know for the most part, what Earl Spence brings to the table. And I said, yes. He's going to come straight forward, high guard. He's going to get you on those ropes, use those elbows, pin you, and he's going to bang. And I said, he's going to go to the body, he's going to go to the head. Earl Spence does a lot of great things. He was like, true. He's like, but is he going to be able to pull it off against Crawford? I said, I don't know. We just have to see. I said, but I do think with Terence Crawford and Earl Spence, it's just a matter of who can impose their style. I just don't think Crawford walks through Spence. I don't think Spence walks through Bud Crawford. I think this fight is going to be a slower pace and not as exciting as people think. They think these two are just going to get in there and just go and turn into a mash-up, crash-up from the first, second round. Like, this is not Mickey Ward or Arturo Gatti. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this is. First time someone gets hit, all the discipline goes out the window and they just go for it. Like, that's not what we're going to get here. Okay? This isn't David Tua, Akabe Ibuchi. That's not what we're getting here. But at the end of the day, Terence Crawford, where he's positioned right now, is where he wants to be. Now, as far as him and Earl Spence getting into the ring, that has yet to be seen. But I do believe there's some truth to it, man. You know, I mean, when Rocha comes out, man, and you see he's fighting an opponent already, the WBO's gone quiet, everybody's gone quiet, even the WBC or Mauricio Dano Suleiman, he's gone quiet. That means it's probably some significant progress that's been made. But let's wait and see what direction it goes. But when it comes to Terence Crawford, man, look, this man, you know, there's not many people who have the backbone to walk away from a situation that he was in with Top Rank, where he was comfortable, and Bob Arum was giving him the business, and say, you know what, I'm out of here. He had an opportunity to do it. He didn't initially, but he finally did it. And he's out here doing his thing, man, and he's getting his experience. And you know what? When you're a guy like Terence Crawford, and you're seen as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world by a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of fighters, current and inactive, who are at his position at a certain time, or who are at a position where they were able to command really handsome fight persons. They're going to sit there, man, and have a little sidebar with him and get him spun up on some things he could do different, or this is how you should look at this is how you should approach this. So he's getting his experience, and he's getting mentored. Now, as far as who's representing him, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. But I don't think Terence Crawford is just out here on a solo mission. I don't believe that at all. He learned that from last time. It's not going to work. They're not going to take me serious. So you got to have somebody representing him, whether it's in the form of a lawyer, the form of some kind of manager, some kind of promoter. But at the end of the day, he has someone who's on his team that is helping him get through this process, navigate his way through the process, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But that being said, we're going to see if Terence Crawford and Earl Spence can end up getting that ring on the 17th of June. And I'll tell you what, if it does happen, I'm going to tell Terence Crawford, you know, good job. Because there's a lot of people who are hating on him. And for some of the people out here, it's really nice to see the comments, because they can sit there and say why they don't like what he did, why they don't agree, or why they think he'll lose. And, you know, they just have a conversation done in a respectful manner. But then there's so many out there who you can tell act the shoe size and probably haven't read a goddamn book in their life. They just want to sit there, man, and say the worst thing they could possibly conjure up in their limited minds about him and about Earl Spence, about his family, about his, you know, wife and kids. That's crazy, man. To me, that's crazy. So that being said, let's see what direction Crawford ends up going. There was a lot of talks about him going to 154. He get the super champion status with the WBO. But let's wait and see how the cards fall, because to be honest with you, we don't know what's going to happen yet. But it does look like, for the first time, there's been significant progress in the negotiations between Crawford and Spence. And I think they're just 2-3 steps even closer to really for both of them to come out and announce the fight. And if it doesn't get announced, then at this point, you know, I don't even know what to think. But I truly believe that there are key decision makers behind the scenes that are preventing the fight from taking place, who have prevented the fight from taking place. And you know what the bottom line is? It's not Crawford, unrealistic expectations. It's not Earl Spence with unrealistic expectations. It's not the other side of the street. This boils down to the greed. Not just from the fighters wanting a bunch of money. They deserve to get paid. It's from those guys behind the scenes, man. Promoters, managers, and whoever the hell else is involved. Networks, cable company, man. Everybody wants money. They want to get paid, right? And that's what it boils down to. So that being said, man, we'll see what happens with Crawford. Again, I didn't come here to do a deep dive into Crawford and Spence. I've done so many videos on them. I'm not doing anymore. But this is just me taking a look at Crawford doing things his way and seeing that, you know what? It's been, what's it, coming on like a year? Maybe a little bit over a year where he left Top Rank? I don't have that. I should have pulled that date up in front of me so I could give you something factual. But I think it's over a year for sure, right? But let's just say from the end of last year, right, where things really started bubbling up, because these negotiations started back in like 2021, to be honest with you. But the end of last year, where we were all getting excited, hoping the fight gets announced. But, you know, some lessons were learned. And then to come now and see that, hey, it may be happening. I really think that Terence Crawford should be commended because it's my understanding he did a lot of this really kind of on his own. And you know what? I think that's going to be even more of a rewarding feeling knowing that he came out here and proved a lot of people wrong, that he was able to really get this fight made. Not going to be like De La Hoya talking about, you know, I made the fight, it was me. We know De La Hoya full of hot air. But Terence Crawford, Earl Spence, let's hope that fight happens. But Terence Crawford's doing it his way, man. And he's a stubborn fella. I'll agree to that. But at the same time, he knows what he wants. He's not dumb, man. And I can understand him. I'm a guy who retired. And I had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things. You know, I don't talk a lot about that crap on this channel, but, you know, I got my little bit of education, you know, more than what the average person has. I'd probably be surprised if I was to get into that, but I'm not. You know, spent, you know, for 25 years doing something, specialized field. So I could easily go out there and do something for someone else. I'm not opposed to that, but I have some things that I've been working on and some things I want to try and do it my way. And it's brought me a lot of satisfaction. I'm not talking about YouTube. This is just something that's therapeutic. But the other things that I've been doing have been working out. And I tell you what, it brings me much more satisfaction than going into somebody's, you know, a building and being their project manager or being their supply consultant or going out there being their damn configuration manager and working out there in cybersecurity. Like, you know, that's cool. Yeah, I'll make some money. But, man, where's the flexibility I have doing things my way? And I think for Terence Crawford, the same way that has a flexible, versatile style in the ring, I think he likes the fact having that flexible, versatile position as being his own boss. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. In the breeze.